Hi everyone, my name is Sheena. Welcome to my second monthly plants haul. I have a lot of plants to show you guys. Let's get into it. So this one is a fern. It is a hybrid. I can't remember the two names. This is a Asplenium kenzoi, and apart from the super cool leaves, they do propagate themselves at the tips of their leaves. So that's pretty cool. So you can see here an entire new plant growing at the tip of the leaf. So if you want to propagate them, you just cut, set it on soil. This one over here is already hanging off the parent leaf. This one was something that I've been thinking about picking up for a while, and I know Summer Rain did feature this plant in her 365 Days of Plants. I've been wanting to get a maiden hair fern. I have to admit I'm very influenced by whatever Summer Rain points out. They look beautiful on vertical walls. So if you ever get the chance to go to Gardens by the Bay, Cloud Forest, you'll see they have a lot of beautiful, just pristine looking maiden hair ferns kind of cascading down. So this one is Adiantum fragrans. Some leaves have browned a little bit, so I'm gonna try and be on top of watering this, but otherwise I've had it for maybe a few weeks and it seems to be okay so far. As you guys know, I almost killed off my rabbit foot fern, but I moved it to a brighter area, so it's been okay now. Let's talk about some succulent stuff. Okay, so in my mind, Peperomia kind of fall under succulent because the first Peperomia I ever got was sold in a succulent shop, and it was the Peperomia graveolens. If you guys know that one really looks quite succulent, and of course I killed it. I have two others which are both not doing very well, to be honest, so I was a bit nervous about buying this one, but I really like the color of this guy, and it has some go away shoo. This guy is really cute. I'm not a fan of the watermelon peperomia, but this one is really nice. It has purple. I like plants with unique colors and unique color combinations, so it's been doing well. But you know, peperomia, they grow fast, but they also kind of die back fast. So this one looks nice now. That's the good thing about doing plant hauls, is you show the plants when they still look decent. Speaking of succulent peperomia, I think this is a peperomia. I'm not sure at all. This looks like a peperomia to me. It has those succulent leaves. It even has a bit of venation on the leaves. Red bottoms are quite typical of peperomia. So this might be a peperomia. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but it does look like. This is the one that made me decide to go for the $10 for 4 kind of situation, and then the lady at the shop was like, I'll throw in 2 more for 15. And so yes, I got this for $2.50 essentially. This is, I believe, a Crassula muscosa or watch chain Crassula, also featured on Summer Rain's 365 Days, if I ID'd this correctly. So far, it is yellowing a bit. I haven't really watered it that much. Anyway, this plant is really quite cute. So I have one cacti here, and you'll see the B-roll. In my mind, this is called chicks and hens. I don't know, but it's getting caught in the cacti. And this one is also quite interesting. I'm not sure of the ID, but this one I believe is Echeveria lilacina, one of those. But other than that, I don't think I've managed to ID any of these. I did get this one thrown in for free at a purchase at a store. So this is the Kalanchoe tomentosa. I've killed 2 in the past, so I should definitely report this to a more forgiving mix. So far I haven't watered it yet. I think it's time to. It's okay. That's one of the things I do with succulents, which I don't know if it's the correct way. I'll just kind of feel the leaves. If they're no longer turgid, then I know that I can water it. But someone pointed out to me before that if you do that, sometimes it might be because there's root rot. So if the roots are not functioning, the plant cannot absorb water, and then the leaves become non-turgid. But I feel like at that point it's too late anyway, so you can just water it. I don't know. Don't come for me. It is actually raining cats and dogs. The lights in this room is a little bit yellowish, so I thought I'd just film with natural light. So on my iPhone it seems a bit blur, so please excuse that. Speaking of succulent, I got 2 Sansevieria or Dracaena cylindrica cuttings from the store that I work at. So I decided to try and root one in water and one in this very cute terracotta pot. I like the look of terracotta, but they're messy, right? I tried potting one in cement, and it was just, it was bleeding all over. The water just went everywhere. And this one I think does too, but it's appropriate for succulents because if you don't know, they are porous and so it allows the soil to dry out faster. So anyway, I just have some pumice at the bottom to help with drainage, and then a mixture of succulent mix and sand, maybe perlite, and then I did top dressing of coarse sand. Even if this never grows, as long as it doesn't die, this really looks quite cute. It'll probably take like 3 months before I can give you an update, right? I also have this cutting. I think this is Euphorbia tirucalli. I'm not sure. I just have it in water because I don't know if it will root. It should, but it's going to take a while. And is it more troublesome to keep changing out water or to have a pot just for a plant that may or may not propagate? I don't know. I know what I forgot. All this talk of succulents and cacti, how can I forget this? I always go to NTUC, which is a supermarket chain in Singapore, and they sell seeds by Horti, which I believe is a local company. I don't know where they source their seeds from, probably not Singapore, I don't know. But they have this cactus mixed. What? And I saw it and I was just so excited because, I don't know, just starting anything from seed kind of feels exciting because you get to know the plant a bit better, and it's generally more challenging because you could mess up along the way. But anyway, I planted 12 of these into just my regular succulent mix, so it's not any more like water retaining than a normal succulent. So, and I just kept it moist. I planted 12, and I think as of now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, over maybe 6 or 7 of them have germinated. I'm really excited. I might do an entire video. I noticed that there are some videos online for this specific seed packet, but I'm not sure. If I can keep up, I might just do a video on it, provided they actually end up looking like actual cacti, because right now they do not. They're so cute. This month, I picked up a colocasia rhizome. I used to volunteer in a landscaping team. We had extra rhizome, so I just took it home and put it in water, and I think it will grow. I potted it up already. I don't want to bring it down. It's too messy. I also got 4 cuttings of Philodendron Florida. Is it here? I feel like it is here. Yes, it is. Okay, so this is Philodendron Florida, I believe. I got it as 4 cuttings. Let me explain. Each had 1 node and only one of them had a leaf. The one with the leaf didn't have roots. The other 3 had roots. So the one with the leaf, I believe has a shoot and new roots coming out. So this one over here, and then this one over here, which is a rooted node without leaf, I think has a shoot coming out. And then there are another 2 which I've just kind of buried. I don't see any growth from. I'm very excited about this because I do like the shape. But personally, if you notice, I mostly have more common aroids. I believe Philodendron Florida is a hybrid. And the parentage is suspected to be Philodendron pedatum and Philodendron squamiferum. Yes, so that is an example of, I guess, hybrids that are very commercially available but of uncertain parentage. And it is known to be, I think, quite hardy because in general, if something is a hybrid, it would probably be a little bit more hardy and easy to take care of. So Philodendron Florida is the original hybrid, the green version. Then there's Philodendron Florida Ghost, which is the one that comes out completely white and or mint and then fades to green. And then there's Philodendron Florida Beauty, which is the Philodendron Florida variegated. That's my understanding so far. Now then, my next question is there a Philodendron Florida Ghost variegated version? I don't really know the mechanism because I don't know if that exists. I potted it up yesterday night, so that's why the B-roll is in water and now it's potted up. So that was the colocasia, the Philodendron Florida. Okay, I got this from my boyfriend as a rooted single note cutting, and he got this and another cutting from his colleague. He gave it to me, or I asked for it. So anyway, just potted it immediately since it had roots and it is giving me a new leaf. I believe when it's not climbing tends to look like Philodendron or Monstera. The Peru one. So that one is quite common, but this one when it climbs has slits. So this is Monstera pinnatipatita. Yeah, I don't know why I put it in a small pot, but I've never staked anything. I hope we're halfway through. I got this guy as cuttings from my boyfriend. And now there are 4 cuttings, each one with like 2 or 3 or 4 leaves. This pot seems a bit small, but honestly, like, I also don't want to put stuff in big pots because of space. Yeah, it looks a little bit... Yeah, this leaf might GG. This is the Philodendron hastatum silver sword. It is getting quite commercially common now. I've been seeing a bunch of nurseries stocking up on this. This one does get bigger, like the leaves when it starts to climb, does get pretty big and does have like a little of a furrow. I can't remember the term for it. So that's what happens when you stake it, which I'm not that interested in, so I might just let it hang instead. Okay, whew. Shall we do Hoya? So I just watched Kaylee Ellen's Hoya haul. My haul is not gonna match up to that because she has some... I mean, I didn't even know of all the varieties and types of carnosa, so that haul is interesting. And it's also nice to see her get full plants as well as plugs, like rooted cuttings, like small cuttings. So that's what I did this month because I found out that people do sell small rooted cuttings of Hoya. And since there's so many to collect, one of the bigger downsides of getting smaller Hoya cuttings is I think you need Hoya to get to a certain size or to start vining or something like that for them to flower. I'll keep track and try to update as to how long it takes to get them to flower. So if you are getting a Hoya for flowers, maybe you might want to consider a full plant. I didn't think of that until I bought a bunch of them. So here are the smaller Hoya. Here we go. We have 2, 4, 6. This is the Hoya Crinkle 8. So when I saw it, I knew it was Crinkle 8. But when I came home, I realized that it is just another form of carnosa, which I already have the Carnosa compacta. So I was a bit like, why impulse buy? But it's okay because I think sometimes to get to know a plant, different varieties of a plant might have different quirks, or they might grow a different way, or whatever. So it's good for me to kind of observe how this guy grows. It has grown already. There's one growth point here. You can see this inch over here is all new growth. There's also new growth right here. So I'm happy. This was a very healthy plug. Okay, so one of my favorite. This is the Hoya macrophylla. I really like the leaves. Oh, I do. It has 3 points of growth. One here, here, and here. And the leaves do come out a little bit pink on the stalk. And it's a very fast grower, I would say, of all the Hoya that I've got so far. This one has grown really, really fast. So say it is, I think, variegated. It's nice to have variegation, but I'm not so particular about it. So this is macrophylla. Alright, so this is Hoya Sunrise, which is a hybrid between Hoya obscura and something else. And it has very nice leaves. This is one of the plants, if you expose it to more sunlight, it will turn red, and then you will see the venation a bit more obvious. And it has cute, I think, yellow and pink flowers. I've not really observed any major growth. To be honest, the care between all these Hoya, I'm just caring for them the same way, which is having a very kind of epiphytic mix. Mainly cocoa chips. Yeah, and a bit of like worm castings and charcoal. I'm looking at you nervously because I don't know if that's wrong. But I'm caring for them across the board the same way and just trying to make the mix a bit airier. So, you know, in case it rains, because I put this on my balcony where there's more sun. And for Hoya, I think they definitely want to be on the brighter shade to a few hours of direct sunlight. I would say if you don't have a lot of light in, you know, wherever you want to keep your plants, I don't think Hoya will be good. Having said that, I don't think they, based on my experience with the Hoya compacta, I don't think they will deteriorate. So if you do like the appearance of the plant when you first buy it from the nursery, and you just want to set it and leave it and hope it doesn't, and don't want it to die, obviously, then maybe it might work indoors for a few months. But if you want it to grow, if you want it to flower, I think brighter shade and a bit of direct sunlight is good. An update on my Hoya Carnosa compacta that I told you last haul, that wanted to flower 3 times but dropped its flowers every single time. So that one I kept in this room for a few months. So it can attempt to flower, but it's not going to open up completely. And then I moved it to the balcony where it got like pretty much from like 12 to 7 p.m. like full sun, dappled because of the grills and everything. I guess that makes it dappled, but it was like intense heat. It did not turn chlorotic, it did not get bleached out. There was no issue. And of course, full rain, basically exposed to the elements and no shade or whatever. And it has bloomed. It bloomed completely. The leaves didn't change color. It put out new leaves. At least my Hoya compacta can deal with full sun. I heard in a video that Summer did in Nong Nuch, Thailand, their Hoya collection, she did mention that some Hoya, or if not most Hoya, flower when they're stressed. Which is why online, when I did research, it did say if you want your Hoya to flower, you can dry it out. So if your Hoya is constantly flowering, that kind of tells me that it's constantly stressed. So I thought like, okay, then long term it's not healthy for the plant. But I'm not sure about it because my Hoya compacta seems fine. It's bloomed since then like 4 times. With the overall plant health, seems fine. Okay, this one I heard is common. This is Hoya australis. I just got it because, you know, it's a plug. It's more affordable. It seems to be growing. Although I have to say it looks very green. I don't know, like the stems are green, the leaves are green. It's just one color. The whole plant has one color. Here we have Hoya obovata. Yeah, okay, I see new growth coming out at the top. Okay, so here's the last small Hoya that I'm going to show you. And this one was a gift from my colleague, my super generous colleague. This super cute pot as well. So I'm really thankful. This is a Hoya compacta variegated, elbow marginata, because it's variegated along the margins. I heard it's a very slow grower. I actually do see a leaf. I'm not giving it like more lights or anything than my other Hoyas. Let's do the bigger Hoya. I have 4 more Hoya to show you. This is Hoya pachyclada. This is quite common in Singapore at least. I've so far seen it mounted. Oh my god, did something chew through my leaf? What the? You can find it in Singapore mounted on wood. And sometimes they do mix a cutting of pachyclada with Hoya carrii as well. But this does dry out pretty fast. So I think you might have to water it every day, especially if it's hot. This one flowered once since I got it from the nursery, and it has a fragrance. So if you're into Hoya with fragrance, this one is definitely something you might enjoy. And currently, as I will show you, it is flowering, I think at 4 points. There's one giant one here. Yeah, so, oh my god, I see another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Prolific flower. Pachyclada. Microphone stands double up as Hoya stands. Okay, this one I'm very excited because maybe a couple months back I wasn't so familiar with Hoya, but since getting those additional 3 Hoya last month and doing them in the hall, and I remember saying in the hall like I don't know anything about these plants. Since then I definitely feel like I have learned a lot more. Anyway, some Hoya do appear like shrubs, as you can tell. This one is Hoya lasianta. The Hoya multiflora, which is the Hoya shooting star, also does look like this, but with a bit of a glossier dark leaf, I think, and a bit more compact in form, at least the ones that I've seen. But this is lasianta, and if you don't see the flowers, you might pass it off as just a shrub or something like that. But this one is a Hoya. It has orange flowers. It was flowering, it had blooms when I brought it home, but those blooms dropped off. So I assumed that it needed more sun, but I'm not sure. But these blooms are the second round of blooms. They are already opening up, so... But I don't see any orange, so I will let you know. Do follow me on Instagram. I will definitely update there if you're interested. It has lost a few leaves, like yellow leaves like this, but there are also new leaves. It's not as small as the other I showed you. Probably some need to get bigger or vine or whatever. I don't know. This is Hoya angolensis, which was found and native, endemic, I'm not sure, to the Endau River. The river is called Endau. First thing is the leaves are very, very, very different. And I read online that it's supposed to be a bit darker. Okay, so there's another Hoya that looks like this in terms of the leaves. The flowers are very different. Hoya Mariana has similar leaves, and they were both at a store, and I looked from one to the other and I was like, I cannot tell the difference. But the other one has small white flowers with a little red center, and this one supposedly has orange flowers. Now, when I got home and started doing research, I was like, did they mislabel this? I hope not. I mean, the other one is pretty too. I bought an angolensis, so I hope I get orange flowers. But I don't see any peduncles on this guy. I see a cobweb. So no peduncles means, to me in my mind, it's gonna take a little bit longer for it to flower. This one is vining. So maybe Hoya that send out these long vines need to vine to a point where they feel comfortable flowering. Maybe. Alright, so I have one last Hoya. This one is definitely interesting. This one is Hoya maxima. I think there are two Hoya that have antisymbiosis. I could be completely wrong. At least it was labeled as Hoya maxima at the store. And they also had at the same store Hoya imbricata. So these two look very similar. I did research a bit. Like, there are no explicit comparisons between the two. I'm gonna guess that they are actually the same species, but possibly just a different phenotype. It was flowering when I brought it back from the store, so I know what the flowers look like. Between this one and the imbricata flower, also because I forgot what the flowers look like since they dropped off since I bought it. So anyway, this one has 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. 4 peduncles, and at least, okay, all of them are producing buds. So we are definitely going to know what the flowers look like. So I've heard some people don't want to keep plants with ant symbiosis because they are afraid that it will attract ants. But I did not think of that when I got this. But so far, no ants. So I hope it stays that way. The flowers are cute. They look like plushies. They look like, okay, you know what they look like? In Singapore, or at least in this region, we have these like small cookies with the colored icing on top, and they make plushies out of those. The flowers look like those. Oh, also another note, it does have kind of some mottling on the leaves, and the imbricata at the store that I saw that day was more like even, like it wasn't so mottled. But I know imbricata has mottling as well. So it's just an observation. It could be sun, it could be just different conditions or whatever, but I just thought I'd just mention it anyway. Odds and ends. Here we go. I have 3 orchids this month. So disclaimer, I don't know anything about orchids. The only orchids that I might be more familiar with are jewel orchids. I featured them last month. Where is Neem? Where is Neem? Hello? Hello? This is a bulbophyllum lepidum. I got this from my boyfriend. He also potted it up for me, so I have no idea what's in it. I mean, I see pumice and charcoal, and so bulbophyllums, all I know is they are kind of like rhizomatous growers, and they have very, very shallow roots. It does have some black spots on the leaves. One thing about orchids is they can get very messy, so I don't really know where to look for new growth. Yeah, we'll see. There are 2 Paphiopedilums. They are slipper orchids. They're very easy to tell if it's in bloom. They have that kind of jug-like lower lip. Quite unique mottling on the leaves. So this is also given to me from my boyfriend because I think he needed more space. So I said, yeah, usually I pass orchids straight on to my mom because she collects orchids. But because now I have decided that I want to learn to take care of them, I am intercepting him, so she's not getting so many from him anymore. Again, one of those situations where I don't really know much about the plants yet, but hopefully I can share more next time. One thing I know is that Paphios do flower very infrequently, like once if not twice a year. Their blooms do last quite long, but again, most of the time you're just staring at this. So unless you are a collector, or, you know, and an enthusiast, you probably won't want to buy these plants. Okay, we're in the last category, which is just a mishmash of plants. Most of these I picked up because I wanted to try different plants. Okay, this is my Calathea dotty. That since it lost all its leaves, which I think was due to some sort of infection, to be honest, so I've already washed this down and repotted it. Since it's died back to the bulb, I've just been keeping it moist, and it has given some shoots, but the shoots have not really grown. In fact, some of them just kind of died back. I'm still trying to revive it, and this made me lose confidence in taking care of Calathea. So I went to pick up this. This is a Calathea ornata. And also, side note, Calathea have been all moved to Japetia. This one seems easy so far, doesn't have a lot of curling on the leaves or drying up. And I think this is an easier Calathea. Anyway, it's not very sensitive when it dries out. I also picked up a Kempferia, and Kempferia, Calathea, Strelitzia, Canna, Musa, which is banana, Heliconia, and then of course ginger itself. They're all in the big order of Zingiberales, I think. Makes me think of Cerebralis. Kempferia is under the ginger family, and the ginger family is under the ginger or the zingiber order. I've been seeing Kempferia here and there, and actually I was at the National Orchid Garden yesterday at the Botanic Gardens, and they use obviously a lot of Calathea and also Kempferia as understory, like bed cover plants, so they are definitely good for indoors because they don't need so much sun. But the Kempferia has been just really easy to care for, and it was flowering when I brought it home. The flowers are like purple, nice orchid color flowers, and they only last a day. Very different from Calathea flowers. I think this is probably an easy variety anyway, but they have very nice leaves. I really want a Hoopersia numeralifolia, but I haven't found one that is like affordable. But anyway, I found this guy. Okay, I'm not sure of the species, I'm sorry. It could be a Lycopodium goebeli. I'm moving it away from my balcony. It's been bleached out and dried out. This is a Lycopodium, so it evolved slightly before ferns evolved, I think. So it is very like old. And so it doesn't produce flowers or cones or anything like that. And it also means that it probably likes to stay moist, but it's also in this like media that doesn't ever hold any water. I don't really know much about Lycopodium still. That's why I got it, and I don't know how you would propagate it. Let's do this one real quick. I got a Fittonia. So far so good. They are common terrarium plants. I got nothing to say about it except that I didn't know that they had furry stems. Okay, this is a fun one, but I think I am semi-killing this. This is a Nepenthes, also known as a pitcher plant, and my boyfriend does collect these, so I don't know, not sometimes, I do get influenced by him. So I went to get affordable one. He believes this is a Nepenthes ventrata. If that is so, it would be a hybrid. So again, this would be easier to care for, like the Philodendron Florida. It's been drying out. I think I underwatered this quite a bit. But it's also been putting out new pitchers as well, so that is a good sign. This does have more of a compact form and can take, I guess, maybe more indoor conditions. So if you're not familiar with carnivorous plants, the one thing you cannot do is fertilize. But I don't know if that's the case for this pitcher plant though, since every leaf seems to be coming out with pitchers. I don't see any leaves without pitchers. So apparently if you fertilize them, they'll stop producing their pitchers or traps or whatever. I think this is nicknamed Japanese rose, but this is actually a portulaca, which in my mind, portulacas are more of succulent plants, right? But no, this one is very hardy. You can grow it under full sun and full rain. I think the flowers last a day, but it flowers a lot. I hope that I can propagate and cut and gift it to a friend. But also it's just a bit of nostalgia because my mom used to grow this a lot back when we were young. Probably not in this color because the taste for colors is different from mine. It's one of those things, if you're worrying about your plants, you can just set this guy and leave it and he will just make you happy. It's just flowering all the time. But I will have to say, they do drop their flowers. So if you don't like to clean up after your plants. Oh, I remember which plant I don't have, which is the goldfish plant. I don't really like Ashkenanthus. I haven't really researched the goldfish plant, but I think it is also... Is it related to Ashkenanthus? But I like this one because of the color and the pattern on the flower. It's pretty cute. One of those plants that flower and drop quite fast. So that's one downside. Okay, so I don't have the ID on this plant yet, although you probably might know it. I know it is a common plant, but it is different from all the other plants that I have. So I just bought it anyway just to learn it, but it's been more than a month and I haven't ID'd it, so it's not working, this buying and learning thing. But this one sheds like crazy. You can see it's in bloom, which is cute. Actually, close up, these flowers are super cute. And it can fruit as well. I had one with it looked like a berry. They drop everywhere, so if you don't want to clean up, don't get this. This one is a Paulownia repens, and I'm going to show you guys a comparison. I got 2 cuttings from this from the store I work at, so thank you. Super easy, way easier than the Paulownia watermelon. Some people have asked me to share with them the ID. It's a Paulownia repens, probably a black or a dark form, and the leaves are also way bigger than the watermelon that I have right now. And if you look at the foliage garden video that Summer Rain did in the Singapore Botanic Gardens, she does mention this. It is really, really dark in person. It's not editing. I just have natural light. It is black. And the new leaves are red. So if for some reason you're sick of green plants, thank you so much for staying all the way till the end. I hope you guys enjoyed everything that I shared with you today. Maybe you found something interesting. I hope that this haul maybe inspired you to try something new. Thank you to plant shop owners who bring plants to us. I am looking forward to doing maybe a Hoya video, but not so soon. I just want to capture all their blooms first. Maybe the Horti mixed cactus seed video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye!